leadership is influence, I believe management is a role that you play. Okay, think about it. How many, we got managers in the room? What does your title say? Somebody tell me. What's your title? Kevin, what's your title? Director.
Software engineering manager.
Software engineering manager. It doesn't say software engineering leader, does it? On your business card? It says software engineering manager. So here's my belief. Management is a position. It's a in the hierarchy of a company, it's a position. Some type of director, manager, whatever. So if management is a position and leadership is influence, then here's what my belief. Leadership is the skill that you use to fulfill and execute the role of management. You guys tracking with me? So leadership is a skill, the skills that it takes to become a great manager. If you buy into the theory again that leadership is influence. So what does it take to influence people? Do you have to be a great communicator to influence people? Does it help? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. If you could resolve conflict with people, would that make you influential with those people? Absolutely. In other words, everything that we're going to teach you, every subject that we're going to go over, is going to make you more influential with your people because you're a manager. Okay? So as we move forward, I just want to use that preface that that's what I'm working off of. Now you can disagree with me. It's okay. It's all right. I'm just saying that's my belief towards it. I believe management is a role. It's a rank, so to speak, which we'll talk about. But leadership is skills. Great leaders are skillful leaders. They know how to influence people because of these skills that they have, okay? So I want to talk today about, I'm going to give you these 4 phases that we influence people at on your team and your organization, okay? Because it's important that you understand this because as you move up, as you move on, you got to figure out where you're at with people. So if you're truly going to be influential as a manager, you got to understand where you're at on this chart, so to speak, or on this ladder of influence. So the first level is what we call rank. Rank. What does that mean? Somebody tell me what you think that means.
Position.
Yeah, it's your title, right? Does the influence come with the title? Yes or no?
Usually.
Absolutely. So think about it. If I went out here in this road that's really busy, right? And I went out there and I put a police uniform on and I went like this, what's going to happen? More than likely, hopefully, right? People are going to stop, right? Why? Not because of who I am, but because of what?
What you are.
Because of my badge, my title, my rank gives me some influence, okay? And when you are a manager, you have influence because of your position. It's okay. You need that, all right? And I'm going to show you why. Because at this level, what we call level 1 leadership, people follow because they have to. Because you're the boss. They have to do what you say. I'll use this correlation a lot. I'll use the correlation between management and parenting, okay? For those of you that are in the room, right? So your kids are supposed to listen to you because you're their parent, right? Do you ever pull that card out? Because I'm your mom. That's why. Because I'm your dad. That's why. Like we pull rank on them. Sometimes you have to do that. It's the same way in business. Sometimes you have to rely on your rank, your influence in your position to get things done. But this level, people follow you because they have to. Here's the good news, is that a position or rank, leadership, is a recognition of your potential. Look, nobody would let you be a manager if they didn't think you had the ability or the potential to be a manager. So that's good news. When I was 20, I graduated college, believe it or not. Those are like, dude, that's crazy, really? I graduated college and I wanted to be in the banking industry because I grew up on a farm and ranch, and I remember was my dad's banker coming out to see him, and he always drove a brand new Ford pickup and he wore these boots, these really nice boots with a suit. Like, that's cool, that's who I want to be, you know what I mean? And so I wanted to be a banker, so I went to school. I got a degree in business and finance, and I got out and I went to try to get a job at a bank, and guess what? They didn't want to let a kid be a loan officer. So they all told me the same thing. They're like, hey, go to the big city, get some experience, and come back and see us. So I did. I went to, at that time I was in Amarillo, Texas. I went and worked for First National Bank downtown in Amarillo in the collateral department. How many bank people do we have in here? You know where the collateral department is? Yeah, neither does most people in the bank, because it's like in the dungeon somewhere, right? But that was my job. It wasn't quite the glamorous job I had expected, but that's where I started, okay? But there comes this rank and position that you get when you get into business, but it's potential. When I got my first job at 24 years old, that's what they were doing. They were giving me an opportunity to show they thought I had potential. And I'll tell you the story later. I actually think the guy was trying to get rid of me, but that's usually the case. A recognition of potential. Number two, it's an invitation to the leadership table. When you can get around other great leaders, you will grow as a leader, okay? And so when you become and get a rank, all of a sudden now you have access to a different group of people. And you can hang out, go to meetings, and be around other great leaders. And just by being in that world, it allows greater influence. I'll never forget the first time I sat down with John Maxwell. It was crazy. I'm like, I'm in a whole nother level here, right? Sitting down with people that have just gone way out there. So anytime you have an opportunity to sit down with people at a different level, it's great for you, okay? And then the last thing is, it's an opportunity for you to develop a leadership style. We all lead differently, and we all should, because we're all different people. In other words, there's no cookie cutter way to lead and manage people. We all do it differently, but it doesn't mean we can't all be effective. But you have to develop your style. For those of you that are new to leadership and to management, you're gonna discover your style. And usually what happens is you take on the style of the manager or the leader that has had the most influence over you in your career. It's just kind of like parenting, right? And we'll talk later about tomorrow how that works. But we just kind of do. We kind of take on their style. But you'll start to develop your own way of doing things and your own management style, leadership style. And so you'll do that. But here's the problem, is that a lot of managers never move beyond this level. I love the quote by Abraham Lincoln. It says, if you, and nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. So what happens is, I see it all the time. You have managers that get into leadership positions, they get into management positions, and they get stuck there. In other words, they only rely on their rank or their title to get things done. Anybody ever work for somebody like that? What we call a level one leader. When we go into organizations, people will call us in and go, hey, look, we're struggling, we'll go to the next level, we want you to coach us, whatever. We go in, first thing we do is we'll spend a day or two, depending on the size of the company, hanging out. Like, we just go talk to employees. That's all we do. You know what I'm doing? I'm trying to find out what the leadership environment is. And anytime I walk into either a department or a company, and you got a level one leader, it's the most obvious thing in the world. Anybody can do it. Why? Because there's some real telltale signs. Let me give them to you. Number one, if you got a leader that's stuck at level one, it's a really political environment. In other words, people are, kind of talking behind each other's back and trying to, jockey for position and all those kind of things that go on in the political world. We got to make sure and be careful that we don't get stuck, because that's a telltale sign that you got a leader that's stuck at level one. Number two, it's very authoritative. In other words, it's not, how can I help you? It's do it because I said so. Because I'm your boss, that's why. I worked for one of these guys one time early on in my career, and I hated it. And if you've ever worked for a level one leader, you know what I'm talking about. It's brutal, okay? It creates this really negative environment. I got to a point where I didn't even want to go to work. And I love what I did, but this guy, I hated it. I dreaded it every day, because he was going to be yelling and screaming and barking orders, and I don't want to deal with it, man. So that's the type of environment that a level one leader creates. It's just really negative. It's also very low tenured. In other words, here's what I promise you, people won't stay in that environment long. You'll hear me say this a lot, and that is, people don't leave companies. They leave people. People don't leave companies, they leave poor leadership. And so, when you have a level one leader and you create that type of toxic environment, people, sooner or later, they will leave. That's what I love about CSI. Dude, did you hear all of that tenure up here? 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, whatever. And that's that way all across this company. What does that tell you about CSI? They don't have level one leaders around here, right? I love that. Love it. The last thing is mediocre production or results. Mediocre production or results. When you have a level one leader, if you were working for a level 1 leader, would you go above and beyond the job duty to get something done to make that person look good? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
No. None of us do. If you've ever worked for one, matter of fact, they will sabotage their success. They'll figure out ways to help them fail. Because they think maybe if they fail, they'll get fired and they'll go on and their life will be easier. You've seen it happen. And so how many visual learners do we have in the room? Like you like videos, things like that? Any of those? So I found this video. I wanted to show you what a level 1 leader looked like, okay? And I found a video that I think is a really great illustration of what a level 1 leader looks like. Let me make sure I've got this thing's on here. So you can hear it. All right, here we go. Check this out.
Sheriff, I have something to say. Now, men, I have just one thing to say. This isn't going to be kid stuff. Fine, Sheriff. Now, there won't be room for any mistakes out there. One mistake is one too many. And you'll each be on your own. There'll be no mollycoddling. That badge means something. Don't any of you disgrace it. I won't, sir. You have permission to talk. What's your badge number? 3. All right, 3. Watch it. Now listen, men, and listen good. There's liable to be trouble out there today. We're liable to have folks among us who are here for more than just a good time, if you know what I mean. Now, the minute it looks like there's gonna be trouble, we got to nip it! Nip it in the bud! Nip it! Let's hear it! Nip it bud! May I ask something? Badge number? 2. All right, 2, go ahead. Are we gonna be armed? No, I'm afraid not, gentlemen. I'm afraid there won't be any time to educate you men in the proper use of firearms. Somebody could get hurt. You see, if you're not familiar with firearms, these babies can go off. Now, you see what I mean? Now, I did that just to show you what can happen. Tell me all, men, 10-4. Well, that's all, boys. Let's just get on out to the city line and welcome our guest of honor. Well, all right, let's move.
I mean, remember that show, anybody? Some of you young guys are like, what's that all about? I love that because Barney was the atypical level 1 leader, right? He had a badge, he was a deputy, and he'd let you know about it. He actually had a gun. Now, Andy'd only give him 1 bullet, but he had a gun with a bullet in it. But he threw his weight around, his title, his position. That's how he got things done. Now, on the other end of that, you had Andy. Andy didn't even carry a gun. Why? Because he knew it wasn't about that. It was about people. And that's how you got things done. Not because you're rank, but because of your people. And so my encouragement to you is understand that rank is good. It's okay. You need it. We all start there. But we don't want to get stuck there. Okay? We need to move on to the second level, which is relationship. You have to go beyond rank and get into relationship. Now, when I say relationship, I'm not talking about being their best friend, okay? I'm not talking about having them over for Sunday barbecues or anything like that. I'm talking about a professional relationship where you truly know your people and what makes them tick, okay? At this level, people follow you because they actually want to, which is a whole different dynamic, right? People follow you because they want to. It helps when people really actually want to follow you, can get more things done. At this level, leaders rely on people skills, not power, to get things done. So a lot of what we're going to talk about and the skills that we're going to give you are what we would call people skills. And so all the skills, again, is going to help you be more influential as a manager. Here's 3 questions I want you to remember about every employee that you have. They're asking 3 questions of you as their manager. Number 1, do you care for me? All the Asians are going, why do I got to care about? What's all this touchy-feely stuff? Remember the statement, right? We've all heard it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. People are not going to work hard for you unless they know you care about them. If you've ever had a manager that you knew cared about you, more than likely you went above and beyond to help out when needed, okay? Number 2, can you help me? They want to know, can you help me, not just in my job, but can you help me get where I want to be? Because you guys understand that your employees have dreams. They have goals. They want to accomplish things in life. Well, guess what? Their current job may just be a stepping stone to the next place. And you have to be okay with that. Not everybody that comes to work for you is going to be a career person in your department. But the job of management is to help someone get from where they're at to where they want to be. This was something I struggled with in the beginning, right? I would hire a great salesperson, and I would teach them, and I'd train them, and I'd get them up running, and they would start crushing it. And guess what? They'd go be a manager somewhere. And I'm like, I got to start all over. And at the beginning, it drove me nuts. But after I realized that, that was my job. The more times I could do that, the more valuable I became, especially within my organization. Because if I can help bring a new person on, teach them, train them, equip them to go to the next level, maybe not even the next level, but to another department, then that made me more valuable as a manager. And so that's your job. Your job is to help people. Can you help them go from where they want to be, or where they are to where they want to be? And again, that may or may not be part of your plan, but they just may be there for a season. And we got to make sure that we're okay with that and help them get there. That's our job. And also, can you help them with their job? But can you help them achieve their goals? The last thing is, can I trust you? If they can't trust you, they will not follow you. Trust is that foundation to leadership. Some of you in here probably have taken Covey's Trust. Anybody in here? Covey's Trust training. It's great. Trust in business and management. Trust is that like you got to have. We're going to talk a lot about it in here. And so tomorrow we'll talk about one of those things is character. Like when you character, when there's character flaws, it breaks that foundation of trust. And you can't be effective, period, without trusting someone. Would you guys agree with that? Yes or no? You have to trust people. And so, but you got to remember, go back and think about how would your people answer these questions? If I went to them and said, hey, this is Cameron, I go to Cameron's people, I said, let me ask you something. Do you think Cameron really cares about you? What would they say? If I said, hey, do you think he can help you get where you want to be? What would they say? If I went to him and said, hey, can you trust him? I don't know. That's the questions you got to ask, right? And you got to know the answers to. Because if you can't answer yes to all of them, you're going to have a hard time being influential over them. Okay, does that make sense? So in other words, we start at rank, we get the job, but you got to move beyond that. You got to get into a relationship. You got to get to know your people, what makes them tick, understanding. That's why we'll talk about PI and personalities a lot. You got to really understand your people if you're going to be effective in leading them. Okay, so we got to make sure that we do that. Talk about how to get to the next level. So we got rank, we got relationship. What's next? The next level is results. We have to, as managers, we have to be able to get results. That's why we were hired, right? So how do we get results, and what does that do when we become the type of manager that can get results? And how does that influence people? Well, at this level, people follow you because of what you've accomplished. Think about it, guys. If you were going to go to work for somebody or someone, would you want to go to work for them if they had been failing over and over and over? Like, probably not. Like, we like successful people. Like, they are influential over us. And so we want to make sure that as managers that we can get results for ourselves, our team, and our people, because we start to develop this reputation as someone that can help people get results and win. Everybody wants to be around a winner, right? So we got to do that. What does it do when you are the type of manager that can get results? Well, first of all, it gives you credibility as the leader. If you want credibility, be successful. That's what comes with it. Number 2, it sets the standard. right? The speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. So if you're the type of manager that can get results and actually help your people get results, then it sets a standard. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And one of the aspects that we'll go over is about how do we get results and what does that do? And so we'll talk about that. Number 3, it brings clarity to the vision. I have managers all the time. They're like, well, my people just they don't get it. They don't buy in. They don't understand what we're trying to do here. You know what I tell them? Well, it's your fault. You haven't been able to cast that vision to a point where they can buy into it. They don't see themselves in it. Here's the problem. Here's a little side note for some of you that maybe this is a challenge for you. Is whenever you're trying to, let's say you got a project you want your team to accomplish, right? You got something you came down the pipe, whatever, and you try to get the team to buy into it, right? Because they're going to have to work maybe harder, longer, more hours, whatever it is. How do you get them to buy into it? Here's the biggest key to that. And when we get into communication, we'll talk about some of this kind of stuff. But the biggest key to getting buy-in on anything from people is that they have to see themselves in that picture. Because remember, they don't care about anybody but who? Themselves. We're all pretty selfish, right? So when you're casting a vision to someone, you have to be able to, they have to see themselves in that picture and they have to know what's in it for them. Let me give you an example. So I told you guys I got my first manager job when I was 24. The only reason I got the job was because I kept bugging my boss to give me the job. I just wanted to be a manager. And in Texas, right, we're Boston people. Like we say the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Like I kept yap, until finally, I think the guy was trying to get rid of me. Because you go over it, you want a job, you want to be a manager? I'm like, yes sir, I do, I want to be a manager. He goes, okay, you can manage the Lincoln, Mercury, and Subaru department. Look, let me tell you something. In West Texas, nobody even knows what a Subaru is. Right, we drive Chevy and Ford pickup trucks. They're all four-wheel drives. Right, Subaru's known for the all-wheel drive. But we had a Subaru dealership. And then we had Lincoln and Mercury. Okay? Any Lincoln Mercury fans in the room? That's what I thought. Neither did it back then either. Okay? Like, they had the Lincoln Town Car. Like, that was that big boat. You ever seen one of those things? Like, it's a mile long. And then they had the Cougar. It was the two-door. It was supposed to be a sports car, but they weren't very sporty. But it was a two-door car. But they had been around so long, like, with no body style changes. Like, those things were just worn out. Like, nobody wanted one of those things. So here I am. I'm taking over this new car franchise, Lincoln, Mercury, and Subaru. It was like they were throwing me to the graveyard. I know that's what he was doing. He was trying to, I would go over there and fail, and then he could say, see, I'll show you, and I get back to selling. Like, that's what he wanted. And so, but I told him, I said, he goes, I got an opening at the Lincoln, Mercury, and I said, I'll take it. I said, matter of fact, if you'll give it to me, I said, in the next 90 days, we'll sell 60 cars. You know how many cars they were selling at the time? Less than 10 a month, okay? Talking a month. I said, if you'll give it to me, I said, we'll sell 60 cars. Within the next 90 days, we'll sell 60 cars in one of those months. He's like laughing at me, I'm sure. But I might have had a little more ambition than I had since, but I wanted the job. And so he gave me the job. So here I am, brand new, I don't know nothing about leadership, right? Management, no. I don't know anything about how to influence people. And plus, I'm taking over, and there was 4 salespeople on this department, right? And I had worked with all 4 of them as a peer. Anybody ever done that? Did you get promoted? With people that you're now over, the people that you used to work with? That's tough, right? Matter of fact, there's a course that you guys have in your e-learning system called Buddy to Boss. If you're that person, you need to go through that course online, Buddy to Boss. But so here I was with I had these 4 guys now that I'm leading. I'm their sales manager, and all of these guys had been selling cars longer than I had been alive. Okay, so they know more about this than I. And so who's this young kid thinking, here I come. But I had a job to do. I didn't want to lose my job, so I went to them. And so how do you get a bunch of guys that kind of been stuck in their ways, so to speak, and have been producing 10 cars a month and go to 60? Like, it's almost unbelievable, right? I got, man, what do I do? So I went to him, and I did all this not really understanding the power behind it until later. But I went to him and I said, look, guys, I said, okay, now I get it. I'm the manager now. I said, I just want you to know I've always wanted to be a manager. That's what I want to do. I like selling, but I want to be a manager. But I understand that you guys know more about this than I do, so I need your help. If you're willing to do it, I'm asking for your help. I said, I kind of stuck my neck out on the line here and see if you might help me out. I said, I told them that we would sell 60 cars. And all four of them started laughing, fell out of their chair. Right? They're like, what are you, stupid? What are you doing? I said, no, guys, we could do it. I said, we really could if we got focused on it. And here's what I think it would take in order to sell 60 cars. And I kind of laid out this game plan. And in the coaching session, I'll teach you how to do this. Because you can't just set goals. You have to understand that people need a game plan. That's where the empowerment comes. But I laid it out for them where they could believe it, right? I was like, hey, if we do this, and this, by the third month, I think we could sell 60 cars. Are you guys with me? Will you help me? And guess what? They bought into it. You know why? Not because of me. Because I didn't have that level. I was at rank with these guys. I had no relationship with them. It was a peer-to-peer relationship. It wasn't a superior relationship at all. And so I had to get them to see themselves, what's in it for them in this goal that I had, this vision that I had for this department. So I talked to them about what would happen if they did this for them, the recognition that they would get, the money they would make, everything that was in it for them. I didn't talk about me. All I told them was, hey, look, I set this goal. I kind of stuck my neck out. Would like for you to help me. But if you do, and we do this, here's what's in it for you. And they all saw it. They caught it. They caught the vision. And so, sure enough, we started the first month we were together. I think we sold like 20 cars. I mean, it's double like what they had done before, which was pretty good. But like we're a long way from 60, you know? This next month, we had a little bit of increase. I think it's like 40 cars, 45 cars or something. That third month that we were there, the last day of the month, of course in the car business they're open 7 days a week, or at least it was 6 days a week we were, every day but Sunday. It was a Saturday. And at 11 o'clock that night, we delivered our 60th car for that month. Now, I couldn't do that again because I ain't even inventory left, right? We didn't have no cars left, but we sold 60 cars in 30 days, which had never been done. And the only reason I set that number is because I think 58 was their record, and I just wanted to break the record. And we sold 60 cars that month. But it was amazing what happened when you get a group of people together and they catch a vision for something, and they all work together to get there. It's incredible what can happen, what the possibilities are. But as a leader and as a manager, that's how you do it. You have to put them in that picture. They have to see what's in it for them. Not you, not the department, not the company. Okay? They have to see what's in it for them. Then they'll ultimately buy in to your department, your company's vision, and all of that. Okay? Does that make sense, yes or no? Yes. Number 4, creates momentum. When you can get results, momentum starts to take place. And listen, if you're having problems in your department or in any company, you know what? Success cures all of it. Right? Like it's a beautiful thing, momentum is. But here's the deal, momentum's hard to create and easy to lose. Hard to create and easy to lose. It's kind of like losing weight, but it's hard to do. Once you start doing it, it's easy to get off that track. But to me, it's almost a visual as this. You're up on top of a mountain with snow and you start to put a snowball together, and it takes a lot of work to get it together, get it packed, and then you start rolling it down the hill. But once it starts to pick up some mass, it starts to take on a life of its own. And a momentum starts to take place. And that's when beautiful things can happen in a team. Man, they just start rolling. Everything that, every customer you talk to is happy, buys, whatever world you're in. It just seems to work. Okay, and that's where you want to get to. But you're only going to get there when you can start creating results. It takes production to get to that level. Okay, so we have to get through results. Number 4, the last level. And I'll tell you before I show this to you, you have to understand that not everybody gets to this level, and it's okay. It takes time to get to this level. It takes a lot of learning and a lot of the different things, but the 4th level of influence that you can have on people is what we call reputation. When you get to a certain point and you've done this long enough, then you'll start to develop a reputation not only within your company, but within the industry as well. People will know who you are. Look, I promise you, you can't hide success. You just can't do it. People will find out. And when you're the type of manager that can build relationships and get results and make things happen, over a period of time, it starts to develop this reputation. And when you can develop a reputation as a manager like that, guess what happens? All of a sudden, life becomes a lot easier. It creates a lot of, people looking to you, want to come to work for you. Used to you have to go out and try to find people to go to work for you. Now they want to come to work for you. creates a lot of different things. Well, you look at this. People follow you at this level because of what you've done for others. Again, it's your reputation. What are some benefits? Number one, it sets you apart from most leaders. Not everybody can do this and get to this level. So if you're the type of person that has career ambitions here at CSI to get up to, maybe the VP levels or whatever it is, who's going to get there? The people that can get things done. Okay? So be that type of manager and do it over a period of time, you'll start to set yourself apart. That's what we want to do. That's how you get to that level. I told the other class that when I first started doing this and building sales teams, and I kind of figured out this kind of rhythm, the joke was I was called Mr. Fix-It. So I worked for a car franchise dealership that owned 18 dealerships. And so what they would do is they would find a department, sales organization that was struggling, and they would put me in charge of it. And they'd give me about 6 months to a year, and I'd turn it around, and then they would put me somewhere else. Now you would think, God, that's brutal. No, I loved it. Like, I would get bored if I built one and just stayed there. Like, I needed a new challenge. I loved the challenge of building a new team, okay? But, so here's what would happen. All the other managers in that organization would come to me and go, man, how do you do it? Tell us, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know. I'd tell you if I knew. At the time, I didn't know. You know how it is when you're in something, you just figure it out. But what happened was it started to set me apart from other leaders within the organization. People that had a lot more tenure than I did. People that had more success than I had up to that point. But because I could get results, all of a sudden, it kind of separated me from everybody else when opportunities came along, okay? So that's one benefit. Another benefit is that it ensures that growth can be sustained. Now this is a tough one because most of us have egos. If you're a good manager, most of you have egos, and we don't, we're like, we want to be needed, right? And I was that way. I was like, man, I can't teach anybody else how to do this because then I wouldn't be so valuable to the company. But I had it all wrong. I didn't understand that my job, right, was to teach other people how to do this, because the key to success in leadership is not what happens when you're there, but what happens when you're not there. That really tells me what kind of leader you are. If you go on vacation and all hell breaks loose, you should really be questioning your ability to lead people and what you can do to get better. Ideally, you want to be able to leave a team of people and back away, and they don't miss a beat. They just keep rolling. That's the true test of leadership. And so it ensures that growth can be sustained when you're not around. Number 3, it empowers your people. We'll do more for a leader like this, a reputational leader. We'll do more for them and work harder and go above and beyond than we would our own selves. Hey, here's a little gut check for you, for those of you that are in management. Again, if you had to ask your team to stay late, work overtime, go above and beyond, what would their response be? Would it be, absolutely, man, whatever you need, I'm there for you. Yes, ma'am, let's do it. If it's anything other than that, you need to really take a hard look in the mirror and go, do I really have that level of influence on them? What can I do to go to the next level? Because that's the response you want, yes? You want people to go, yeah, let's go do it. I'll work overtime, I'll do whatever you need. Not because of them, but because of you. That's when you've got true influence over people. All right? It empowers people. The last thing is it provides great personal fulfillment. If you're going to be in management, absolutely, totally get fired up about people's development and growth and success, then you're probably in the wrong choice of occupation. Tony Robbins says success without fulfillment is failure. Think about that one for a minute. Success without fulfillment is failure. So, if you're a manager and it doesn't give you a certain sense of fulfillment to see people succeed, then you're going to be challenged to help them at the level that they probably need to be helped at. And so make sure that you understand that and that you feel that way. And if you don't, then really ask yourself, why? Why don't I feel that way? Like, why don't I really want to help people succeed? And when we get into the coaching model, I'll show you about how to overcome limiting beliefs that maybe that is surrounded around. But we got to get to this 4th level of leadership. Why did I show